Hello, class. I'm coming to you as a secret agent. Secret Agent 212. And I'm here to teach you all about a new word that you're going to use in Theme 6, I'm told. Theme 6. It's called, are you ready? This is a big secret. It's a big deal, or I wouldn't be here. Synthesizing. What does that mean? Synthesizing. We're going to find out together. Before we talk about what on the earth synthesizing means, we're going to go back and remind ourselves how Mrs. Farmer taught you how to summarize, because she's taught me. So when you guys summarized James and Giant Peach, you used a very specific kind of model. You made what I'm told is called an anchor chart. And it followed this pattern of SWBST. Do you remember what that stood for? SWBST. I'll start it for you. Somebody wanted, but so then. Good, you remember. All right, so we're going to use this model with a really silly story about a squirrel with walnuts. And yes, it's very silly. It's called, Do You Have Any Walnuts? So we're going to read this text, and then we're going to summarize it using that somebody wanted, but so then. And that is going to help us with synthesizing after that. All right, get ready. Secret story coming at you. Do you have any walnuts? There once was a squirrel who went to an ice cream shop and asked the clerk, "Do you have any walnuts?" The squirrel said with a smile on his face. "No, I'm sorry," said the clerk politely. "We're out of walnuts today." The squirrel sighed but didn't seem upset. He turned around and left the store, but 1 hour later, he came back and asked the same question. "Have you got any walnuts now?" the squirrel asked. The clerk sighed, thinking the squirrel didn't seem to understand. "I already told you we don't have any walnuts. Now you need to get out of here." The squirrel went out the door and did as he was told. But 1 hour later, he returned. "Have you got any walnuts?" he asked, even more chipper than before. The clerk was angry. "I told you we don't have any walnuts. Now listen here. If you come back again and ask me about walnuts, I'm going to nail your paws to my counter. Now get out." The squirrel left. But sure enough, 1 hour later, he came back, but asked a different question. "Have you got any nails?" the squirrel asked. The clerk looked surprised. "No, I don't have any nails." "Great," said the squirrel. "Have you got any walnuts?" The end. So at the end of the story, hopefully you get the joke. The squirrel comes back and asks for nails the last time because he's afraid his paws are going to get nailed to the counter, right? So he asks if the clerk has any nails, because if he doesn't have nails, then he can't nail his paws down and he can keep asking for the walnuts, which is what he really, really wants, obviously. So let's go through with the somebody wanted, but so then with Do You Have Any Walnuts story. We're going to do it from the clerk's point of view first. Remember, point of view is that character's perspective, how they see what happened. All right, here we go. So the somebody is our clerk, the clerk. And he wanted the squirrel to stop asking for walnuts. But the squirrel returned every hour and continued to ask and ask. So the clerk threatened to nail the squirrel's paws to the counter. Then the squirrel returned and figured out his trick and asked for walnuts again. So from the clerk's perspective, that would be our summarizing story. Now, I told you we were going to take the story, summarize it, and then we were going to synthesize it. So now you're going to find out the secret to synthesizing. Raise your hand if you have ever built a puzzle. I have built many puzzles, especially as a secret agent. It's a very important skill with problem solving. Synthesizing is very, very similar to building a puzzle. You are pulling bits of information together and creating something new. So when you get that puzzle and you see the front screen, you know what it's supposed to be, but when you dump out all the pieces, it's a mess and you can't tell what goes where and you got to figure it out. And sometimes it takes a long time. So synthesizing is kind of similar to that. We're going to take bits of evidence from the text and then put them together and come up with a new idea. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then you're going to get a chance to do it. And you'll be able to show that to Mrs. Farmer later today when she returns from her meeting. All right, so if we were going to look at this text, let's look at the clerk's perspective, okay? And let's really think about, he's very angry in this text, isn't he? He's sighing, he's yelling at the squirrel, he's threatening to nail his paws to the counter. This clerk is angry. So I can tell by his tone of voice, I can tell by the threats he makes to the squirrel that he's angry and annoyed with this squirrel. I also am going to pull a piece of evidence that the squirrel keeps coming back every hour and asking the same question over and over and over. So I'm going to take those bits of information and come up with this new idea. I think the author is trying to teach us that when you ask for something over and over and over again, someone will get annoyed with you. You're going to irritate people. And I can tell that by the body language, the tone of voice, the threat, and because the squirrel comes back again and again and again. Okay? So that's going to be what I synthesize from the text. You might also say, maybe the squirrel should have just given up the first time, right? Have you ever gone to a store and they've been out of something? I mean, that happens sometimes, right? Maybe your new Xbox game hasn't come out yet and you're really frustrated about that, but you wouldn't go back an hour later because they wouldn't be restocked soon enough. So some of you might say the squirrel should have just given up the very first time, right? Okay? The author didn't come out and tell you that. You are synthesizing that information and pulling the fact that he came back and back and back, and the answer was always, no, we don't have any walnuts. Okay? So now what I want you to do with your substitute is I want you to think if you come up with any other new ideas from the text using that information. We've already got asking people for something over and over again is going to irritate them. And maybe asking just once is probably okay. See if you can come up with anything else. Think about the lesson of the story, anything you think the author is trying to communicate to you, but he doesn't come right out and say it. Good luck with your mission, and hopefully Mrs. Farmer will be back soon. That's all for now from Secret Agent 212.